How's it going, guys? And welcome back to BL3's Forgotten, the series where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered within the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we are taking a look at the Bearcat. If you'd like to farm the Bearcat for yourself, you're going to want to fast travel over to the Droughts on Pandora, specifically taking the Highway Fast Travel Station, which conveniently is where you'll be resetting from. Make your way towards the left before turning around and behind the rock, where you should find this ramp up into this little encampment, which, as long as you have completed the Stag Dog Days side quest, is where Mincemeat, Truffle Munch, and Butt Munch will spawn, with Truffle Munch being the one that can drop the Bearcat. The Bearcat is a legendary Torgue assault rifle able to roll in any of the elements and firing 3 projectiles per shot for the cost of 2 ammo per shot. The Bearcat fires in a 2-shot burst, with each shot firing a row of 3 grenades that will explode on impact with an enemy or will bounce when impacting a surface. While these projectiles visually look like grenades, they do not get boosted by grenade damage. The Bearcat has received 2 buffs, initially receiving just a lowered ammo cost from 4 to 2 per shot, which was then followed up by a 200% weapon damage increase. Oh boy, the Bearcat, a returning gun from BL2, in which in that game it was a pearlescent. And unfortunately, unlike a lot of the BL2 pearls that returned as legendaries in 3, the Bearcat really hasn't received as much of a glow up. With that being said though, it's not exactly for the reason of it being a bad gun. For quite some time, yeah, that was the case prior to either of its buffs. The Bearcat was really shit and practically unusable. But despite that, I was actually quite pleasantly surprised by this thing in some ways. I actually did enjoy using it, and I found it really fun to kill with. It was pretty strong, it was decently effective, and really good for killing yourself. And that's kind of where the problem comes in. Any projectiles that didn't impact would bounce around wildly and often would find their way directly below your feet. And this isn't like a rare occurrence because this gun has very heavily arcing projectiles, meaning that you kind of have to be close to enemies to use it effectively. And unfortunately, that's not entirely the only problem, because the word of the day here is gonna be consistency, and the Bearcat just doesn't really have it. It does have an incredibly large base mag, and especially with even just a couple mag size boosts, you're gonna be able to just spam out shots of this thing, but sometimes those shots will feel like you're laying down a carpet of absolute destruction, while other times it's just like you're tucking these enemies in with a cozy grenade blanket that does jack shit. And the main issue it has for that is its set projectile pattern of those grenades firing out in that horizontal row. It's a pretty widespread, which makes it very difficult to land a lot of those projectiles onto a single target unless they have a larger hitbox, which again especially sucks because if they don't impact that enemy, they're gonna be bouncing around and will probably end up downing you. Now there is a couple ways to increase that consistency, one being Mana Focus with Zane, which makes this thing fire out a condensed brick of grenades and allows it just to be so much easier to land all of them onto a single enemy. It especially makes it easier to have all those grenades impact right on the enemy's crit, where they'll hit pretty damn hard while also getting erasered to go on to annihilate any grouped up enemies. Or again, yourself. While Zane does have Duct Tape mod, which prevents his self-splash damage from hurting him, you can still easily get hit by a really nasty dot from the Bearcat, and it happens pretty fucking often. I also found Amara's Heavy Rain to actually be really nice with the Bearcat. It extends that projectile range, making it so that they don't arc downwards as fast, meaning that you can pretty much increase the effective range to a distance where it feels significantly safer. Though even then, I definitely still found ways of downing myself. And Mose was the character to kind of actually bring the damage up to a place where it's kind of worth the amount of times you down yourself. While she's not really doing anything to directly increase how consistent landing these projectiles are, she's just making them do a fuck ton of damage, along with very easily upkeeping that large mag so you can just spam out those shots. I mean, even though you're gonna be killing yourself a lot, it's Mose, that's pretty standard for a lot of her builds. She has a really strong fight for your life, it's not that big of a deal on her. By far, I do think Mose was the most enjoyable to use the Bearcat with. On top of that, I was also just using it on Guardian Takedown with her, and any enemies that have larger hitboxes, like those Necro Bugs, the Bearcat is significantly better against. But even with it being good and functional, I still struggle with the Bearcat. I both love and hate this thing. It's fun but annoying, it's cool but lame, it's good but utter dog shit. It fills both extremes in almost every metric, and we're gonna come back to that word, it's because of a lack of consistency. It is kind of difficult to say whether or not the Bearcat is good or bad because it depends on how much you value consistency over fun. Personally for me, I'm probably never gonna touch the Bearcat again again after this. I much prefer my weapons to be both fun and consistent, because I find the whiplash of a gun feeling amazing against one enemy just to feel really shit against another to be really obnoxious. But hey, if that's something that you can handle, don't let me stop you, and definitely give the Bearcat a go. That's gonna about do it for this one though. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all that. I will be live right after this video goes up, right here on YouTube and also over on my Twitch channel, both there will be a link to down in the description below. And just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.